So we had to do the only thing that we could, try to call up our clients and have them pay sooner. We would tell them, we haven't really had the money in from all our clients. Could you possibly pay us a little sooner? We would try to shorten the credit line so that our clients didn't have a 30-day payment notice, but only a 2 weeks payment notice. And of course, we were cash management experts, so we kind of knew how to do everything we could to get our money in from our clients. On the other hand, from our accounts payable, we had to not pay our bills. We had to give priority to paying the bills where they would charge us interest if we didn't pay. For the rest of them, if people didn't call us to collect the money, we would wait. When they finally called up, we would maybe ask them to make an agreement with them, which was always the best thing to do. Make an agreement and say, we can't really pay now. Would you mind if we pay a month later? Would you mind if we split the bill and pay you, make some down payments on this to get things to go? Of course, we had to provide personal security for a loan in the bank. So if this thing would fail, we would end up having big debt. Debt that we would probably carry along for the rest of our lives if things really went wrong. So that's the kind of cash flows we found ourselves in. And one of the questions is, how do you survive a cash flow crisis? Actually, it's not too hard to get an agreement with your creditors to pay later on. One of the reasons is that the creditors don't really have any options. If you call them up and explain to them we don't have the money, we can't pay, there's not a lot of things they can do. They could try, of course, they will start to charge you interest. That they can do to make you pay sooner because you don't want all that cost. But really trying to put a lawyer on you and collect the money might not increase their chances very much of getting the money. They have an interest in really making sure that you survive and get going. And of course, when you explain to your creditors what the situation is and they trust you, and you explain to them we have the money coming in, they're just delayed. And if you actually do make agreements with them and do pay them some money, just little by little, then they will further trust you and feel confident about the situation. The worst thing is if your creditors don't feel secure about you. So as long as they trust you, they are very open, and it's very possible to make these kind of agreements with them. We never experienced anyone who wouldn't really accept it. When you are in a cash flow crisis, there's one particular payment that you have to make every month, and that is the payment to your employees. If you don't pay your employees immediately, the company have to terminate its payments, and you have to get the creditors on board, and they take over to make the decisions about the company. So that's the most important thing that you cannot postpone in any way. Also, of course, you have many public creditors, so you have to pay your VAT on time. If not, you get huge fines for not paying them. So there are some creditors that you cannot postpone, and you need to at least get money to pay these. And in a company that has 40 employees, of course, that is quite one of the major things to pay. It's much more important than rent and office supplies and all of the kinds of stuff. So that is really the main thing, and that's why it's can be hard sometimes. It's not a cost that you can postpone. You need to pay it on time every month. When you're in a cash flow crisis, all the partners are involved in solving it. First of all, it's a main priority for the company, but also each of the partners have paid their own personal security against the loan. So this is something that is really important. It sometimes comes as a surprise to you. You really don't understand why do we have this problem, because we have all these contracts, right? The company is very successful, and every week, new jobs are coming in, and things seem to be going very well. So what you need to do in a situation like that is to track every single payment that you have. So you really have to have some of the partners, sit down and go through every single payment and clear before any money goes out of the company. So you find yourself in a state of disbelief. I mean, how can it be that we have this problem when we get all these contracts? And that's why sometimes people actually fold in a situation like this, because it's hard for anyone to realize the seriousness of it, and hard to believe that you cannot convince the bank to further extend your credit line. So in our case, because we actually knew about cash management, our first business idea that failed, now was the time for us really to use this knowledge in how to deal with things. So quickly we managed to set up the system so we could track things and actually get through and survive this crisis. The cash flow crisis, however, were actually a symptom that something was wrong in the company, because we had actually some of the companies that were very profitable. Our training business was running really well, and all the money was spent on some of the other companies. One thing that was really expensive for investments was the gaming company, because the gaming company, Pixelias, had only expenses and not really any income, because it was all about product development.